Hi, everybody. I'll let a few of you guys just jump on here. Hopefully we're gonna have a little better connection tonight than we did last week. Sorry about that. Not a lot that we can do about the internet. If the sound goes out or if you struggle with your connection, just try refreshing your screen. And remember that if we cut out, when the replay is available, you will be able to watch the whole thing uninterrupted. So it is worthwhile to come back later and watch the whole replay, have it delivered right to your inbox so you can catch everything that we said. Make sure you don't miss anything. Tonight, we're going to answer the question, how do I switch equine professionals? And this is one that pertains to horse trainers, coaches, farriers, vets, massage therapists, anybody really. We want to give you guys some tips on that. If you want to send in a question for a future live, then you can do that by sending it into our email. Our email is just hayeskofellph@gmail.com. You can send in a question that you would like answered or a topic that you would like for us to discuss. You can share with us your thoughts on it. And last week, was it last week we did old horses? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Last week we talked about old horses and breathing problems, and afterwards there was a whole bunch of you guys that sent me messages about things that you do to help your old horses, and that's fantastic. I think if you guys ever have tips to add on to the things that we're saying, definitely share them in the comment section because they might help somebody else. So we are going to go through some of the tips that we have about how to switch equine professionals, making the decision to switch, how to handle the breakup, what to expect afterwards. And I do want to remind you again to sign up for our email list if you're not in there yet, because one, you'll get the replay delivered right to your inbox. Two, all of our clinic information is going to start coming out over the next few weeks. And if you are hoping to find a way to work with us in 2022, clinics are going to be a good way to do that. We have very, very minimal training availability until the end of the year, and we have we're not taking any new clients right now for coaching. So clinics are going to be the way to go. Get on the email list. That's how you'll get the info for those. Jessica Fell, you're on. What is your advice for switching equine professionals, starting with making the decision to switch? How do you go through the process of making the decision to switch? When should you switch? When should you not switch? And before Jess gets going, just a reminder to you guys, if you have questions as we're going, definitely drop them. We will come through and try to get all of those answered while we're live. If we don't catch them live, we'll definitely come back afterwards if you're watching the replay and try to get those answered for you. Making the decision to switch trainers or coaches or barns or I guess vets or farriers. How do you know when it's
Feed
time?
guys, hay guys.
Feed guys, hay guys.
You know, anybody you deal with.
Yeah. Yep.
I think the biggest thing for me is when you lose faith and you don't trust. There's a lot of time and money, and I always call it the breakup because usually it's as dramatic as a divorce, and you hear about, you always hear about the crazy ones at the horse shows.
Yeah.
And I always call it a breakup. Mm-hmm. And 90% of the time, people can do it well. They can do it
90% of the time?
Well, I hope to think there's that much.
Okay.
I think one thing that happens, though, we always hear the bad things. You hear about it at the horse shows, or you hear about it in the barn gossip at some barns. I hear about it. I'll go shoeing somewhere and I'll be bent over, and did you hear about so-and-so or whatever? The one common thing that always amazes me when there's the drama around it is how everybody thinks the other person's crazy. nobody acknowledges that they were in
That
on
they
it.
are the crazy
Yeah, that
person.
they're in there with it. And I mean, I've fired farriers. I've had people shoe for me over the years. I've fired vets. If I don't trust them, my biggest thing is, I think to a pretty good degree, I can handle stupid. If somebody is stupid and just does something,
This is starting out really well.
well, but if somebody
exactly how I
does
pictured
something
this going.
as a mistake, I think
Yeah.
and I might rant and rave and, oh my God, why'd you do that? But to a pretty good degree, I can work
Tolerate
with it.
honest mistakes.
I can't stand dishonest. I can't stand sneaky. And do I always handle it well? No, because when that happens, I'm very blunt. I'm not sure if you ever have.
Just starting to question why you are giving advice on this. Maybe get to your point.
I think the biggest thing is just be upfront about it. You can't handle the other person's crazy. So you behave in a respectable way. Let them be the crazy they want to be. And you go on about your deal. And, we see it in the horse, you'll be at a horse show and somebody changes barns and the whole barn goes against that one person, or, the person will go against the trainer and stuff. And you think, you're there for years, or, you started there.
It doesn't have to be a
walk
big,
away and just leave it alone.
It doesn't have to be a lot of drama.
If you don't like the barn, you can put some of the responsibility on the person. Well, why didn't you do your homework before you went in there? If you thought you were going to change somebody or change somebody's program, or a coach thought they were going to, or a trainer thought they were going to change how that person is, and I mean, I've heard both sides of that story. You're not going to change the other person. I've heard, lots of trainers, well, he'll do it my way. Or, no, they won't. It always is going to end up as a fight. And I think the biggest thing is when you walk away from that, acknowledge it was a mistake. Who cares? That happens. And go to the next one. If there's not the drama and you just want to try a different barn, or you want to try a different discipline, or you want to try a different style of doing things and a different way of doing things, just be upfront where you're at and say, hey, I've had lots of people, they come here and I want to try this or that, or I want to go to a clinic with somebody else. Go for it. I work for you. If I can be of service to you, you let me know. And that's not in every barn. I know that's not a policy in any barn. I can think of lots of people where if you ride with a certain person, they won't let you go, they don't want you to go to other places. Mm-hmm. To me, that's a big red flag. Mm-hmm. Why would they want you to be
exclusive to
solely them? That just doesn't make sense to me. So there's a big red flag there.
Yeah.
I have multiple vets that help me out. They work for me. I don't hide the fact to any of them that I have multiple vets that work with me. We all have our strengths and our weaknesses. So that has to just be upfront and honest. And then if one is better at a certain part of their job, let's say a trainer is better at, some trainers are better at 2-year-olds, some trainers are better at aged horses. As long as everybody knows what's on board, I think it's good. But so many times when we see the blow-ups happen, it's people, to me, what I look at is it's people trying to be sneaky, and that just never works.
I want to add to that before we move on. I think if you are thinking about switching professionals, there's going to be, it's going to be a challenge. I think the people that do the best, even though, we both feel that it's important to get instruction from different people. If somebody's riding in our barn, we'll always say, definitely listen to, go and listen to another professional and take pieces of what they say. And, you're going to get more from listening to a lot of perspectives. But on the flip side of that, the people that do the best are the people that do the research up front, figure out which professionals they want to work with, then commit to working with that person. And when stuff gets hard, which it is going to be hard, I know from my perspective as a coach, my job is to literally pick out your weaknesses and make you work on them, which, you know, in the beginning when you're first learning to ride is kind of fun and exciting. Once you get to a point where you're kind of at your maximum for what you're willing to put into it, and you're hitting that point where, you know, there's a lot of frustration and there's a lot of, you know, maybe personal growth or putting yourself out on the line that needs to happen. That's where a lot of people will start to turn and think, you know, I need a different horse, or I need a different coach, or I need to go to a different event. And I just want to encourage you that if you're thinking that you need to switch just because it's hard, first look at yourself and see, what else can I put into this? Is this really a coaching problem, or a training problem, or a horse problem, or a vet problem, or, you know, or is it a me problem? Is this something that I can work out? If it's not, and you think, and then you have made the decision that you want to try somebody else, and then go ahead and again go through the research and figure out who is it that's going to be able to help you accomplish your goals, who is going to be able to help you through this stage that you're in, and then commit to putting in the work there. You cannot expect for a trainer or a horse or a coach or a vet, or you can't expect for everybody else to solve the problems for you and just hand it all to you on a silver platter. You have to be willing to look inside of yourself and actually do the work, actually do what your coach is saying, actually do what your trainer is saying, before you decide to just try a different trainer. Making the decision to switch, how to handle the breakup. You want to talk about how to handle the breakup?
Well, I feel like, well, and just one more thing on that one. I mean, we see it sometimes. You know, we have some, I don't mean old customers, but customers that have been with us for a longer time.
Long-time customers, yeah.
You know, and the one that I always use, like one of our customers has had a bunch of horses with us. We've had some really good ones for them, and we've had some that really weren't that good. And we know before they go to the show pen, we talk about it. You know, do we want to go on with this horse? Do you want to not? And, you know, I think it's really quick for people to say, you know, well, it's not working. There it is. Yeah, you got to work through some rough spots with them babies. And you have to figure out where it is realistically that's not working. I think it's kind of funny from a trainer point of view when I see people pull up from a training program, put it with a different trainer, then with a third trainer.
Oh, man.
And there's a few of those around that I can think of. You know, they've had more trainers than they've had horses over the years, and it's always the trainer's fault. And I always go back to an old thing of the person telling me it's somebody else's fault, or like, you can trust me, I'm religious, or all that kind of stuff. As soon as somebody's telling me that, you know, if they're coming in and they've been to a few barns, well, it was so-and-so's fault, you know, but you can trust me because I'm good. No, usually that's the problem. And I think that's a good point, is you do have to stick through some stuff. I mean, everybody's trying to do their best, or hopefully they're trying to do their best, but sometimes it just isn't, you know, maybe that isn't the best horse. Maybe that isn't the best deal. Maybe it's just not suited for what you want to do, but I think there's a lot to be said for conversations. I think there's a lot, you know, and I mean, we've seen some conversations at horse shows that were hospital and good conversations. You know, I've had some where you just shake your head and, you know, boy, we're trying, but, you know, maybe this isn't the discipline for a person. Maybe this isn't the discipline for a horse. You know, you hate to go, not go on with it, but at some point, you know, you want to pull the plug and you hate to have that conversation, but it needs to. And then I've seen other ones that shows, I mean, if we put a top 10 list, I mean, there's somewhere I thought the cops should have been called for some people getting after each other. And those are the ones we always remember. You know, you see that happen and everybody at the show, oh my God, did you see so-and-so and so-and-so? And but that's not a conversation. That's just tempers and whatever. So the biggest thing is then how to do a breakup.
How to handle the actual conversation or whatever that needs to happen to transition out?
I think one of the biggest things is from coaching people and training horses is there's a few horses over the years where I've said to customers, hey, I think you need to take this horse to somebody else. Here is somebody that I think this horse will get along with better. Here is somewhere where I think you will get along with better, you know. And I think that's a big thing is you just need to talk about it. I have a couple pretty good friends that I don't work for anymore. You know, we just didn't get along that way. And I have some customers who are really good friends with other trainers. And because, you know, we all talk about it, nobody cares. It's when things are sneaky. Like I've also had people bring horses into the, well, don't tell so-and-so that I brought. As soon as they say that, I'm just like, no, just out. You're out. I don't want to even talk about it. If you can't tell that other person, and I'm not hiding anything, so you're out. I don't even want to discuss it. And you can't bring your baggage to the next trainer or vet or whatever. You know, I mean, I've heard lots of, well, I already invested this much money, you know, I need this to happen. No, we can work on the horse. We can work on you. You know, what happened in the past is not my problem. And I think the biggest thing is it just needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I think honesty is the best thing. It can be an email or a phone call or however you communicate, and just
I think phone calls. I don't think any of those things are best under emails. I think phone calls.
Yeah,
I'm a big one on. I like to talk to people.
Phone
for that
call
stuff.
definitely is easier to interpret the meaning behind it, but I think something to say, you know, a lot of times it's polite. It's very polite to say, you know, thanks for all of the effort and all of the, you know, whatever, all of the good times. Mm-hmm. I've made this decision. I hope you'll support me in it. You know, wish you the best, whatever.
And in that,
not beating.
quite often people will go back if it's
Yeah.
left.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've seen that lots of times. I want to go to this horse show. You don't go to it, so I'm going to go with this trainer.
I gotta go with
you know,
somebody
or
who's gonna
vet or
support me.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then when it's done,
Or who do you think I should go to? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be done.
yeah, I
It
want to
can be
go
done
to
well.
the. You know, I want to go show Hackney ponies.
Yeah.
You know, okay, here's what you know we want to do. Here's what you want to do.
I'm going to Arizona for the winter. Who should I ride with?
Sure.
You know, yeah, it can be done very respectfully and very, I think it can be done well, or there can be lies and deceit, and that's not comfortable for anybody, and then it makes it so awkward moving forward.
I think a lot of times what I always see too, like I was thinking this today, some of the crazy stories, and it always starts out with the same thing. Somebody's trying to be smarter than the other person. And whether it be people that I've had to fire or people
Like clients, you mean? You're calling it firing a client?
clients or like other equine professionals. You know, my biggest thing is if it's up front, everything's cool. And if it's not up front, I mean, I can sure get my hairs on the back of my neck kind of up pretty quick. And, you know, once I'm done with, there's a difference of, there are people that I have fired over the years that I'm still friends with. And then there's other people that I've fired where you know, they were dishonest and it was a big one. And I'm done. And, you know, that's a different deal. And I don't think either one's wrong, but I also know that with those ones, I never go back. And I'm fine with that. I think one of the biggest things when we see it at horse shows, like people think they're being sneaky, and we always laugh about it. I mean, you know, the trainers will be sitting there talking, and, you know, so-and-so come by. Well, you know, we've already been in a circle with all the trainers or all the people that are the players in a thing. And you hear the stories and you think, oh my God, like this is ridiculous. And I think that's the biggest thing in the horse world. It's so small that when people do crazy things, it's just, it always comes back.
Yeah.
It always gets out, and it's just so silly.
Don't be a jerk. Just be honest about it. Be straightforward. Don't be patronizing about it either. Don't try to belittle anybody. Just make the decision and be respectful about it. And as long as you are respectful about it, then after the fact, then everything can be cool. You see each other at the horse shows, you see each other, in the barn or, at the tack shop or whatever, and everything can be cool. If there's dishonesty there, then I think that's where it gets really tricky, because for us, especially the people that we show with, like you're talking a lot about training clients and people that we show with.
Well, that's what I know, right?
Especially for that kind of relationship, where there's so much that goes into it, where it's not just a straight trade, money for service, right? However many dollars for this many minutes of coaching, it becomes a very personal experience where, there's shared meals out for dinner, and there's, playing with each other's kids, getting to know each other's families. There's, borrowing of equipment. That's one of the things. Once you sever a tie for those things, as long as it's respectful, then, the friendship part of it can still be there. But we've seen it before where, a client has, not one of ours, but a client has decided to leave a horse trainer and then decided to come back and try to keep borrowing their equipment. You can't have that kind of expectation afterwards. Those things are kind of the unwritten perks, right? The unwritten, unwritten things that get included when you ride with somebody in an involved way.
I think another one that always boggles my brain too, and it's more of a boarding situation when we hear people talk about trying to get out of a boarding deal. And the boarding facility will have, or the training facility too, I've heard of these in contracts too, where they want like 30 to 60 days heads up. And they're in there for a reason, but at the same time...
What's in there for a reason? The 30, 60-day policy?
Yeah, like yeah. I know some trainers that have it where like they need so many days notice and whatever. Yeah. And the people say, well, if I give him notice, I don't think he's going to even ride my horse. I don't think he's going to feed my horse. I don't think this or that. Mm-hmm. And right off the bat, and I can think of a couple people that have those things. And I've heard about it so many times where I think they put that in their contracts because they've had enough people take horses to, like, I'm mad at you and I'm taking them today. And I don't know who the right and wrong is because every situation is different. But if you did your research and there was 10 other people that had that happened to them, if you have that feeling there's something wrong, what went wrong that was the deal. Mm-hmm. And as a boarder, yeah, you want to make sure your horse is at least the quality of care. They have to be fed. They have to be turned out. They need what they need. So that's a really tricky situation. One of the reasons I'm so happy we never board horses is a lot of those problems that arise, and usually they arise over something so silly. I mean, I've been shoeing at barns where I've heard of people leaving because two of the boarders got into a fight, so the one left in the middle of the night, and you're thinking, well, now the guy that owns the barn is out board money. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous. He has to try to fill a spot because you did something silly. And it all goes back to, did you talk to each other, and did that, did you do your homework and did you talk to it? Because there's some real creepy people in the horse world.
In the world.
Yeah. And on both sides too. There's, trainers and coaches and vets and whatever, and there's customers that are that way. So a lot of it just goes back to that, talk over it.
I saw up here, Lacey said, do you find that customers moving causes hard feelings between professionals.
No,
So do you mean,
not if it's up front.
do you mean, Lacey, like if somebody was riding with us and they left and went to ride with somebody else, are we gonna have a hard time with that other professional? Is that what you mean there? I think it depends on how it's done. If it's where that professional pursued the client, which sometimes happens, where a professional that doesn't have as many clients as they would like, or specifically wants a client, if that person tries to pursue a client that they know belongs to somebody else, rides with somebody else, then that can cause hard feelings. But if it's a straight up honest, a client deciding to go and ride with somebody else, then we certainly don't have a hard time with that. But I think, again, that comes down to what everybody has. If a trainer is short on clients and that client, one of their clients leaves and goes somewhere else, then you do see that. Marie's saying learn from it and move on. Yeah. Anne is saying, using clinics to test yourself under another set of eyes is a great way to supplement what you are doing with your regular program. It enhances your riding with some variety. No one coach is an expert at everything. Just be upfront with your goals and plans. Yeah, I mean, that's a good way. Riding consistently with somebody and doing the occasional clinic with somebody else. That can be a good way to kind of get the feel for the way somebody else does things, for sure. I think you have to be at a certain level in your riding to do that well. I think where we see people struggle is where they're just starting out in an event and they try to do clinics, a bunch of different clinics with a bunch of different people. And that usually isn't the best way to go, I don't think. It's too hard to understand. Everybody has, how, Anne, I think you'll know this. You know how when you see somebody ride at a horse show, you can kind of tell who they ride with? A lot of times you can see that, somebody rides a lot like the trainer that they ride with. If there are a lot of perks to that. There's a lot to be said by somebody who commits to one program and develops, a set of skills that work together. Before venturing out and trying different things. But I really like what you said there. Being specific. Nobody's an expert in everything, and being specific about your goals, using clinics to experiment with different professionals, for sure. Are there any other questions in here?
Who was it asked the question about between the professionals?
Lacey. Yeah, she said, does that often happen?
I think the one thing, Lacey, too, is there are other horse trainers who I think have the same mentality as me when that happens, in that I am in the entertainment service industry. I am here to work for you.
I'm here to put on a show.
No, but I'm here to work for you. I will train your horse. Here we go.
Yeah.
Actually, here, Kevin Simmons just popped up. Here's a perfect example. I rode a horse for a little bit for him this summer. He always rode with a trainer in Michigan, who's also a friend of mine. And I'm sure if the border opens up, if Kevin brings his horse back here, wonderful, glad to have him. Really enjoy the gentleman. But if he goes back to Michigan, to the trainer that is going to... Kevin's into Arab reiners. I don't go to the Arab shows. He really enjoys the trainer that he was always with. He, very good. They're very nice people. Get along with them great, wonderful. I appreciate that. I thank you for coming to me for the little bit of time we needed to fix a horse up quick fix one into the futurity. He needed some help at the very end. We gave it to him, but I'm not concerned. When he needs some help, he will call me. I'm here to work for him. For the trainers, there's some trainers that I don't respect, and there's some trainers that I really respect. So if somebody comes to me and asks me and says, where should I
And there's some trainers that are a good match for one person and other trainers that might be really great people but are not a great match for that person.
Or horse.
Or horse, yeah.
And so when somebody comes up to me and says, this is what I want to do, I can advise them, I can help them, I can, whatever. And one thing I have when people switch to here and they call me on the phone, the first thing I always tell them, and it's the same if I go to haul a horse for somebody, whatever, is your bill paid? No drama. Can it just come and be done? And if they start to tell me all the drama, I just go, I don't want to deal with it. Not my cup of tea. I don't even care. And if they say, okay, I needed something different. This is what I want to do. I said, great, perfect. Love to have you. And when the time is up, treat me with the same respect. See you later. And there's not a lot of drama between the trainers any more than there is between the non-pros or any other people. When there is drama between the trainers, people really hear about it because it's always a blow up at a horse show because that's where trainers get together. And there's been some crazy ones. I mean, I can think of some times where you just shake your head and go, wow, like the world's just a wonderfully crazy place. But most of the time, it's you can be respectful because you know the people. A bunch of the trainers that we show with or against, however you want to say it, we all know each other's kids. I mean, we know where each other's lives.
We've seen each other's highs and lows and
sure. Yeah. And at the same time, just as any other people, there's some trainers that I don't respect. If they're dishonest, I don't respect them, so I wouldn't tell anybody to go to them. Or if I did, I guess I don't like those people either. But it's the same thing when trainers talk about. I'm thinking of one guy, he moved down south. Oh, this is going back a couple of years ago. He moved down south, and I just called a couple of my buddies up, and I said, hey, are any of you guys looking for another non-pro? Here's a guy coming down. This is his riding capabilities, great guy. And we set it up for him to go, but it was people that I respected in that area. And actually, the guy that I sent him to wasn't even a friend of mine. It was just somebody that through word of mouth I knew would kind of fit him, and he went and rode there. And I think that's just the biggest thing is, it's just people. So the same way you would deal with people on a regular basis. And I'm bad for, and I know I'm bad for it. If somebody's, dishonest and just that way, I can draw the line in the sand really, really quick, and I don't ever go back over it. If somebody does something that is just complete craziness, I can laugh about it. If they just didn't know what they were supposed to do or how it's supposed to, I can usually put up with that pretty good, but I have zero tolerance for certain things. And, that's just people. I think in the horse industry, we all get caught up with, you have to be in a barn, you have to do this, you have to do that. This is my one vet, or this is my one this. Just talk about it. It's your deal.
Glenda's saying sometimes you live in an area where going to clinics is the most economical way to get your lessons.
Sure.
Yep. I think there was something else.
I don't go to clinics, but anybody that knows me I love to watch at the horse shows. I'll watch other trainers. I'll watch videos. I'll watch, I guess I don't have much anymore, but I used to have books on jumping horses, and remember I had one time on saddlebred show horses. I love information from other disciplines and other things, and I have some bridles and stuff that are very non-reining things, but they really work for certain purposes. The more you can get that knowledge, the better. So, get out and do clinics and watch that kind of stuff and do everything you can. I think it's great to get out there.
Sarah's saying, does this apply in any ways to using an online program, Momentum, for example, with one professional alongside working with a professional in person? I think in that case, oh gosh, my fingers are cold to try to move this up and down. I think in that case, Sarah, what you've got is the best situation, because you've got the program, you've got the online program that's supporting, you kind of get the whole picture of the way everything works as far as the way that we do things, because you've got so many different resources in there, right? You've got the videos of just training horses all the way through different levels. You've got a bunch of different exercises that you can do. The really fine-tuned stuff, like even the equitation, like I'm thinking of the equitation for the spin video, even that equitation for the spin video, there may be things that your in-person coach needs to tweak at different times, but I think having that online program there where you can kind of see how it all works together is ideal. And then having somebody in person who can put eyes on you and correct the little things. And I do know that you're working with somebody who's an NRHA professional and a respected one, and somebody who works with a lot of non-pros. So I would imagine that a lot of the information, if it's not identical, then it will overlap a lot. There will be a lot of similarities. So I really believe in the online programs. I'm seeing more and more how people are benefiting from having those. I can't speak to other online programs because I haven't seen those. I haven't had people that are participating actively in an online program and then coming into our barn and working with us in person where it has worked well. And that's one of the reasons why we developed the program, is because we were not seeing that. There was not that link. I don't think you can do a natural horsemanship video series or online membership and then come into our barn and try to do the reining and make those two things connect. That does not work. But there are more and more online programs that are popping up that are from trainers and coaches that are in alignment with your online trainer or coach. You know what I'm saying there? And that, I think, does work well. Just the same way that Anne was saying that if you have somebody knowledgeable in person that's helping you, then going out to clinics periodically is a good way to get the benefit of having somebody else's eyes on you. Lacey says, I've really appreciated your help randomly at horse shows throughout the years. Yeah, Lacey, remember when I videotaped your dance moves the last horse show? I still have that.
What?
No, I was videotaping you on a horse and she was on the other side and I forget why she was dancing.
Because she just felt like dancing.
Yeah, I didn't even know that she was dancing. I was trying to get you on the horse. I think it was for Amber, was in Florida, and I was trying to get you riding her horse. And Lacey texted me something like, "Did you get my sick dance moves?" Yeah. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot there. We've covered making the decision to switch, when to know it's time to switch. Dishonesty being the biggest thing for you, obviously. And then my 2 cents was like looking inside of yourself and making sure that it's not something that you need to do more of, you need to put more effort into, rather than placing blame on somebody else. How to handle the breakup, being honest about it, being upfront, honest, respectful. Thank you is always good on both sides, right? If a client is leaving a professional, thanking them. If a professional is no longer taking a client for some reason, a thank you to them, for
I think
their
that's one that a
support.
lot of people don't even realize too, is, there's a number of times that we have to say we can't do this for you. And
Yeah,
I've seen some people get kind of huffy about it.
yeah,
And, there's only so many hours in the day. We can only do so much. And the biggest thing is it's not a personal, not a personal thing.
yeah,
If a customer breaks up with a horse trainer, or a horse trainer breaks up with a customer, it is not a personal thing. Well, sometimes it is, but, you know, it's just we cannot provide that service, or we can, here we go. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with all the,
It's like showing up at the restaurant and all the reservations are taken. You know,
Yeah.
It's not that they don't want to take your business; it's that they can't. You know, that's kind of where we're at right now.
you know, if you have a farrier that
Yeah.
you want to try a different farrier, I think the biggest thing, especially with a lot of things like the farriers, the vets, just give them the heads up as much time in advance, so that, if you have an appointment booked for the,
Oh yeah,
the
don't no
16th
show.
of
Yeah,
thing,
don't no show.
it's not a night before you call up and say, oh, well, or you show up and,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Give everybody the heads up, and then nobody cares. And the biggest thing is too is if you give the heads up and you say that ahead of time, then if that person does care, he's proven that he's the problem. Who cares? Like, that's not your problem.
yeah.
You can do that quite easily.
What to expect afterwards?
That's not your problem.
That depends. Yeah. Be cool. You be cool, but you can't control how
You can't control
somebody else
crazy.
is going to react.
If they're
Yeah.
crazy, that's their problem.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a few people of what happens afters. And the one sentence that always gets me when people talk about the afters is, well, I thought they would do this, or I thought they should have done this. It was always I thought, not I talked about it, or I asked for it, or, we did this. Or they did and the person didn't do it. Well, then right off, that's not your fault then. If you ask somebody, can you do this for me? And they said, yep, and then they don't do it, well, then that's their problem. The aftermath of whatever happens, you just do your deal and let them show their crazies. I can think of a couple of things at horse shows. We'd walk by stalls and you'd see somebody and you're thinking, that's crazy and I don't ever want to be a part of that. When you see other people break up and they're respectful and whatever, then when they call you and you say, yeah, you know what? This is a person I can get along with. I think one of the neatest ones is I had a customer one time come to me and they had a really nice horse and rode it for a while, and I never heard the story for a couple of years from the people on what happened with their old never asked, that was between them, but it was never a big thing. And I heard it from another party about what the trainer did. And I was thinking, now, I didn't even hear that from the people. Rode many horses for them. And to me, that was class, because it wasn't, oh, so-and-so did this or so-and-so did that. It was just, can you work for me? Will you ride this horse? Will you show this horse for me? Yes, I will. Thank you very much. Our deal is a clean slate. Let's start from there, and you can't control the crazy of other people. It's fun to watch the crazy of other people, though.
Yeah, don't get sucked into the drama. I think
Nope.
that's the thing. Don't get sucked into the drama. If you're with a trainer and you know that there's going to be drama when you leave, you probably need to leave. There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be drama for leaving, just for leaving. Unless you didn't pay your bill or something like that.
Pay your bill or do
Yeah.
your end of the bargain.
Yeah,
And
your end of the bargain.
if you did your end of the bargain to the best of your ability and what you said you would do, then when you leave, you can have a clean conscience
Should be okay.
and you can walk away from it. And you don't worry about it.
Yes. Okay, we need to wrap this up. Thanks for being here with us tonight, you guys. Like I said, if you have future questions that you'd like for us to answer, make sure you send those to us at our email, hazekofellph@gmail.com. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you would like to find out about our clinics, because those are coming up in the next little while. And like I said, that is the way to work with us in the next little bit. Sorry about the noise, you guys. I don't know how loud that is for you guys. We have our cows inside right now. And tack item of the week. If you're on our email list, then you will have got an email about these babies, which are our Dutton's Ladies Spurs, which have been restocked. We only have a few pairs, and we have different rowels. So if these are not the rowels, try to show you these rowels. If these are not the rowels that you're looking for, just specify which ones you're looking for. We can put those on for you and get them sent up. I'm sure they're not going to last very long because there's only, like I said, there's only a few pairs, and the wait time, if anybody has tried to order spurs recently, the wait time on spurs and bits and things is
Getting long.
Yeah, so these are the ones that we like. We have a few other videos about why we like them, the thickness of the band, the thickness of the rowels, just the fact that they're interchangeable, all that kind of stuff. You can check those out. You can send me a message if you want to try to find those, but you can find those on our YouTube page as well. And we will be back next week on Tuesday at 7:30 with some more answers to your questions. Thanks.
What question are we doing next week?